What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Racy Podcast. This is your host, Cristopher Zamora. Welcome to the show. So today, guys, I wanted to speak to you about Ilia Topuria. This guy is such a great fighter, and he's an uprising star in the UFC. He's definitely going to be one of the main guys for the next generation of UFC stars. He's like right next to Sean O'Malley, Alex Pereira, and maybe Paddy the Baddy as well. Paddy Pimblett. He could be like one of those guys because he is a champion and he has defeated Alexander Volkanovski. He has defeated Max Holloway as well. Supposedly they were the main two guys from the lightweight division, and they had very tough fights beforehand. So that's great for Ilia Topuria. That guy is undefeated, and nobody hasn't really beaten him right now in the UFC, and maybe no one can beat him. Maybe like an uprising guy, like somebody that is coming up the ranks, maybe he can give him a good shot. But like the main guys that we have right now, like Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, I think maybe the one that will give him the most problems, it probably might be Charles Oliveira, because he's mostly like a grappler, right? And Ilia Topuria, he is known as a striker. He is good as a grappler as well, but against a guy that is just known as a grappler and always miss their opponents, that's going to be an interesting fight if he ever fights him. That's definitely going to be a good one, man, because let's see how he actually does against Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira did get a win against Justin Gaethje. I think he defeated him in the very first round. Just like that. It was a super quick fight for him. Not really sure he fought Max Holloway. Maybe he did on the pass. But Charles Oliveira, he's a very good fighter. And he recently fought Michael Chandler. They won all 5 rounds, and it was an entertaining fight. How Michael Chandler, he was just carrying Charles Oliveira and just putting him down. And I remember in the last round, he just showboating, but he already lost the fight. But it was an entertaining fight, to be honest. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler too. I think the first fight, Charles Oliveira, I think, KO'd him in the second round. But yeah, I think the second fight was much better. But going back to Ilia Topuria, like I said, Charles Oliveira would definitely give him a great fight. I forgot to mention one more person, Islam Makhachev. This guy, he is a champion on I believe is lightweight division. I'm not really sure what division he's a champion on, but he is one of the main guys right now as well. He just came out of nowhere and just defeated Charles Oliveira just like that. He submitted him, I think, in the second or third round. That's like the main fight for Ilia. If he gets through Charles Oliveira, then maybe he has a chance of actually defeating Islam Makhachev. That's the main fight that I think everybody will be looking forward to next for Ilia Topuria. There's rumors going on that supposedly he's going to fight Alexander Volkanovski one more time. But I don't know, man, if Volk can actually take another KO, man, because that one, the one he just took from Ilia Topuria, it was brutal. It was definitely brutal. It's just seeing him getting KO'd, I think, in the second round. I knew it. I knew he was going to get KO'd, but not so early. I thought it was going to be in the later rounds, but wow, man. His nickname is El Matador. That means the killer in Spanish. But yeah, Ilia Topuria, he is one of the main rising stars right now in the UFC. He's young. He's my age, 27 years old, and he definitely has at least over 10 years or so to actually fight good opponents. He is just getting started. Let's see how long is he going to hold the title. Will anybody will be able to defeat him? He is undefeated right now, but like I said, if he does get past Charles Oliveira, damn, man, that's crazy. Maybe he has a great chance of defeating Islam Makhachev. Don't get me wrong, Islam Makhachev, he has KO power because he did KO Volkanovski, and he has submissions as well. So he can do both. And he has gotten decision wins as well. So yeah, man, that's going to be a very interesting fight if it ever happens. That's going to be a fight that, oh, man, it's going to be very hard to predict that fight, to be honest, if it ever happens. Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria is going to be a very interesting fight. But as of right now, him against Charles Oliveira is the right call. That's the main fight that I'm looking forward to, and maybe like UFC fans are looking forward to as well. Charles Oliveira is a grappler, and he's probably a good mix of both. Ilia Topuria, a striker, and also a grappler. So it's going to be a great fight, to be honest. Now, speaking of other UFC fights, there's a post that I saw saying that which fight will sell the most. It's between Dricus Du Plessis versus Alex Pereira, or Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. I think the fight that will sell the most will probably be with Alex Pereira, because that's like the main guy right now. I'll probably eat my words, but like Alex Pereira, you can say right now, he's like the Mike Tyson of UFC right now, because he KOs almost every single person he has gone in on the octagon. That guy, he just goes at it and he just takes his opponents out one by one. Except maybe one person, I think he went by decision. He was about to get submitted, I think, but that's the only one. Like, it was after he fought Israel Adesanya and got KO'd. On that fight, I think he got a decision win, but I think that will be the fight that will sell the most. If you guys did not know, Dricus Du Plessis actually got a decision win against Sean Strickland, because Sean Strickland didn't really do as much on that fight. You gotta fight the same fight that Sean Strickland always does. He's like not really an active fighter, but like that jab, the freaking jab that he always goes, you have to fight his fights. And I think Dricus Du Plessis did earn the win for that fight. It was kind of a boring fight, to be honest. It was mostly a technical fight. And Dricus Du Plessis, he did so great against Sean Strickland. He was making him bleed everywhere. And I think he broke his nose, like Sean Strickland did mention. Damn, it was kind of a boring fight, you know. But it is what it is. That's how Sean Strickland fought. And Dricus Du Plessis, he had to fight the same style that Sean Strickland does. And so he beat him in his own game, and that's why he was able to get the win. Maybe not a lot of fighters, like maybe Khamzat Chimaev, like if he ever goes against Sean Strickland, I don't know if he will be able to actually last that long. Probably like a lot of fighters will actually get frustrated just fighting that type of style against Sean Strickland. And even Dricus Du Plessis, on his interview, he said he was a very difficult person to fight against because of that freaking style that he has. It's almost like a Mayweather type of style in a way, but for UFC. That fight would be great. Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus Du Plessis. But I think like the one that will sell the most, it will definitely be Alex Pereira versus Dricus. And supposedly there are rumors that Khamzat Chimaev is actually going to fight Dricus Du Plessis next. Oh, if you're a loyal viewer of the UFC and not a casual, then you'll be wondering who is going to win this fight. It's going to be a fight of grappling the whole time. Because, yes, Dricus Du Plessis knows how to strike, but he's also a grappler. And Khamzat Chimaev, he's mostly known as a grappler, but he finishes his opponents very quick. That's the main thing. He submits them. And I think like his debut fight, he got a KO win as well. His fights don't really last that long, so it's going to be interesting. Maybe Dricus Du Plessis might actually take him all 5 rounds, but the thing is, we hadn't really seen Khamzat Chimaev made it past the 3rd round. Yeah, if he actually did fight Kamaru Usman at least 5 rounds, then maybe the outcome of that fight would have been so different. Because Kamaru Usman, he's been there for lots of times. He's been to 5 rounds a lot of times in his career, and Khamzat Chimaev, not many, maybe not even once. So it'll be interesting if how his energy lasts throughout that fight against Dricus Du Plessis. Maybe he'll try to get the finish as soon as possible, but Dricus Du Plessis, don't get me wrong, man. He has a good grappling game. Like, I remember he fought against Darren Till, and that guy, he was getting his ass whooped. Sorry, Darren, if you're watching this, but damn, like, his face was so messed up by the ending of that fight. I think, like, he got TKO'd or submission. I'm not really sure what happened, but I doubted that it ended on decision win. It was like probably like 2 to 3 years ago when that happened. So yeah, man. Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus Du Plessis is going to be an interesting fight. But for like the casual viewers, I think Alex Pereira versus Dricus Du Plessis, it will definitely sell way more, to be honest. And now, speaking of UFC fights, I want to speak to you about Control 2. It says right here, Control 2 will enter full production next month. If you have never played Control, guys, that's definitely like a weird type of game, but you probably might actually enjoy it. Like, if you have ever seen the show called Mr. Robot, it is kind of like that in a way. Like, the protagonists, they talk to themselves, and just like weird things happen in the video game. Like, she goes inside a building to actually find her brother, and like, man, just like the nighttime in that area, it's just like so scary. Like, you're walking in the dark hallways, and she's trying to find her brother, and just like creatures, just not even creatures, just like possessed people, they just come out of nowhere and try to attack her. And like the noises, it's just so insane. It's just so scary, and it just fits so well. The game was actually pretty good, man. If you have never played Alan Wake, those are the same people that created Control. The company is called Remedy. They actually do create good video games, to be honest. I didn't finish Alan Wake 2, but like I did enjoy what I played from that video game. But Control 2, man, let's see how it actually goes down. I'm not really sure how they can continue this story for her. Maybe since Alan Wake and Control, they are related some way, because like there was the DLC for Control. Maybe there was like an ending that maybe the main character came out on Alan Wake 2. I'm not really sure of the story because I haven't finished the video game. So yeah, I am excited, man, for Control. Let's see how that one actually turns out. Hopefully it turns out really good. And yeah, guys, that is it for this podcast. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you guys did make it this far, be sure to follow this podcast on whichever platform you are listening to it. If you are listening to it on Spotify, YouTube, Pandora, be sure to follow it. And also recommend this podcast to a friend or a neighbor that actually likes listening to stuff about combat sports and video game culture. Maybe they will enjoy this podcast as much as you do. And yeah, guys, that is it. Take care and live to the fullest. Bye.